Hi guys, and welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. My name is Michelle.
And my name is Nina. Welcome back to Carefree Queens, guys. We hope you're all doing well and you've all enjoyed Chelsea's magnificent pre-season, because it's safe to say that we are impressed, we are intrigued, and we are invested to see what we do in the Premier League, which, Michelle, it's literally next week. When you think about it, pre-season's done and the Premier League is literally next week, and we're playing Liverpool to kickstart the Premier League. And I'm feeling excited and I'm feeling hopeful. How are you?
No, I think we can both agree on the levelness of hopefulness. Can you say that?
Yeah,
Is
you
way
can.
better than what it was last season. I hope we're not delusional, and I hope we're not being fooled again. But the preseason has been looking really good, even for the academy players and the youngsters. Um, So let's just stay in this little bubble for a minute, and then maybe it will burst on what's the Sunday next week? Yeah,
No, it's the 13th.
is
It's
that
the
not Sunday?
13th.
Either
It's the
way,
weekend.
it
Yeah.
might burst when we play Liverpool. We might, it might grow. Who knows? I hope it grows. I hope it grows. I'm actually hopeful, and I try to be a bit pessimistic to not get my
Yeah.
hopes down. Yeah, it's looking
No,
good.
but it's good though. It definitely is. And already the difference between last preseason and this preseason is miles apart. And of course, Pochettino coming in, I think he's instantly had an impact. He's changed the training style, he's changed the way he's approached the players, getting to know them on a personal level and then making things look better on the pitch. But I'm just filled with so much more confidence now because we seem to be scoring goals as well. And we've done it against teams that we struggled against last season. We did get beat by Brighton and Newcastle. And yes, we also drew against Newcastle on that last day. But still, the difference in performance between then and now is just miles apart. So yeah, definitely some standout players that have been consistently impressing throughout the series of games that we have played. We'll get into them throughout this video, but firstly, let's just touch upon our business with Brighton in this transfer window, because it's been frustrating to say the least. But we have now signed, of course, Sanchez, Brighton's keeper. He wasn't first pick, wasn't playing consistently for Brighton, even though they had a brilliant season. But we signed him for 20 mil, Michelle, with 5 million add-ons. And some are saying that is a little bit of a kind of pricier fee to pay for a goalkeeper that's not necessarily someone that is exciting you and think you, wow, he's goal stopping, clean sheet stats are impressive and whatnot. But I'm thinking there's something a little bit deeper here. And I'm thinking that from an aspect that we are trying to pursue Caicedo, and we have been trying to for this whole duration of the summer transfer window. And I'm thinking we're trying to get into Brighton's good books, perhaps ease us into making that final bid that we will be making. I'm hearing there are rumours on that. But hopefully it means that we get to sign Caicedo like we did Enzo Fernandez on the last day of the transfer window, and we can all be buzzing and ready, because it is a little bit worrying that we are nearing that first Premier League game we're playing, and Caicedo is nowhere near anywhere a Chelsea player. So we will see on that.
No, I think it's funny you say that. I don't know if that's the case, but it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense that if you give and then they take, I don't even know how to phrase this. Like, it makes sense that if you go ahead and buy, like, all right, I'll take this one, even though it wasn't my top pick, but I'll do you the favor. But I won't really touch on prices. It's not my strong field. I priced Mason for 100 mil. I don't even know. I don't want to put prices. I think that's out of my expertise. But
it's not your job anyway, Michelle. It's not your job. You're just here to analyze and talk about it. So it's fine. You don't need to price him. But yeah, no, I think I agree with you.
I get your point
Yeah.
with us trying to get in on Brighton's better side or good side. And I feel like it would be, I don't know if I can say it would be so Chelsea of us, but nonetheless, I feel like it would be so Todd Bowley of him to go out with a bang. Like, he is American after all, trying to stereotype anyone, but I mean, it would be very American of him.
I mean, what better way could he top off this successful preseason than giving us what we have been crying out for since January, really? So you're right. If he wants to go out with a bang and get straight into the Premier League and look like a serious team, because I feel like signing Caicedo makes us instantly a lot more threatening and a lot more equipped to face the Premier League sides that we will be facing, and just better all-rounded as well, because we know that we are crying for that midfielder that will partner up with Enzo and make him thrive and push up a lot more, be involved in attack. So I think that'll be the perfect, top off there for the pre-season. So we'll see. Hopefully that's us manifesting. And Todd Bowley, if you're watching, just get it done. We'll love you forever. But no, Michelle, let's get into some superstars, because that's now what I'm calling them. Some of our superstars that we've got in the making, superstars that me and you already spotted as soon as they touched down, back in January. So if you think that we are joking, rewind back to watch Carefree Queens, guys, the last few months, because we've been banging on about a certain someone that goes by the name of Mykhailo Mudryk. Michelle, would you like to take it away, since you've both got the same letter?
No, I think I'm in love. Like, it's just, he's flourishing. It's like one of those flowers who's been, like, if you take good care of them, if they're in the right environment, if they're comfortable, they just, like, they bloom and they outgrow they outshine every other flower. He's just, like, he was just having a laugh. Did you see that touch? I think it was Reese who passed it to him.
Yeah.
I showed it to Philip, my boyfriend, and he was like, yeah, what a show off. And I was like, yeah, because he's that good. Like, he seems to be way more comfortable now. I'm gonna say this: the environment last season, he barely speaks English. Imagine how overwhelming him moving to England, like a different environment. Everything's different for him. Barely played when he came. Barely played, and then he's just getting thrown into a chaotic club with a chaotic owner who didn't really know what he was doing yet, a really bad manager, two really bad managers. It's just not playing consistently either. It's just like, it was so chaotic last season. And then, I don't even know what to say. Like, this is going to be his season. This is going to be his season. There you have it. He's going to be... I don't think if this is too bold to say, but he's going to be our number one player. Like, I'm that excited for him. He's so, like, bro, he's so quick. If you're quick, that alone makes you a really good footballer. Like, I know that's really bold of me to say, but honestly, if you can outrun more or less every single player on the pitch, like, and then just make sure you bring the ball with you. It's actually like...
He's quick. He's really quick.
He's so fast, and then let alone that makes him good, if you know what I mean. But then he has skill as well, and he reads, like, him and Jackson, him having Jackson next to him is just, it's like, I feel like it's, if you have the eye without the top, like the circle on top, it's like, I feel like Jackson is the circle, and so it's just, he's the cherry on top. I'm getting ahead of myself. I know I might get too excited, but it's just, we saw a glimpse of it last season, and then now finally, I feel like it's finally, I don't even know.
And the finish as well, like that goal that he scored, that Jackson assisted him. Already, I think you said something a while back that when we were discussing Mudryk, about him flourishing with the right people around him. So I think you're so spot on with the fact that Jackson has been so assisting of Mudryk as well, and vice versa, because they complement each other so well. Because Mudryk's pace is crazy. Not everyone's going to be able to make that run forward to receive a cross from Mudryk in time, but what they can do is these little 1-2s and these little flicks and tricks that they can to surprise defenders and, get round their back so that they can take shots and they can score. And we've already seen glimpses of it. And Mudryk's touch is insane. It is. And I already think that he's one of those players that is going to get progressively better with game time, because we've seen it. A lot of people were moaning about Mudryk not being good last season, but you said it yourself. He was getting denied playing time. Lampard was bringing in with like 15 minutes to go, didn't really know how to sort of, you know, add Mudryk into the system because we didn't really have a system, and he was just kind of chucking him in there with 15-20 minutes to go of a game, and you can't really expect much of a player when you are doing that to him, especially considering, like you said, he didn't even play football before he got signed at Chelsea. He had a lot of personal things going on in his country as well, so for him it was a very big change, and he didn't have the right support and the right manager to settle him in and make that an easier transition. And I think already having a good manager has made all the difference in the world for him, because he seems to be settling in brilliantly. And I can only imagine with more game time how he gets better. And, you know, the finished product will come as well, because sometimes maybe the decision making kind of in the box sometimes is lacking, but I feel like that will get better. And it also happens with rhythm. When you build on it and you learn how to play with these players and, you know, who's going to be getting into which positions, that's when you can feed in the ball a lot better and it makes sense. And then that's how you get goals as well. But Mudryk brightens up our attack so much, and, you know, you can already see it. And since we are on the Nicholas Jackson wave as well, I think he deserves praise as well, because the boy has been so good, consistently so good, Michelle, and he hasn't even played full 90-minute games yet. He's had such a big impact with his goals and assists.
Clever. He's so clever. Like, he gets it. He gets how to play football. Like, whenever someone says, or I see him, or I see his name, I just instantly think of that. It was just beautiful how it was one touch. It was one touch, Mudryk had it, one touch, he had it, one touch, Mudryk had it, and then bang into the goal. Like, he gets it. That's the thing, he gets how it's supposed to work. And I think that I don't know much about American football, but I think that the quarterback is the brain of the whole team. He's like the clever one on the team. And once again, I need to draw parallels, but I feel like it's just, I might be getting ahead of myself, but
we spoke about him last episode, didn't we, Michelle, when we were discussing, like, should we buy a 100 million striker, or should we actually give Jackson a chance? And now that there are talks about Vlahovic coming in potentially, and we know that that's going to be a player that wants and demands being number one and starting, because he is more experienced, you know, he's played at a higher level, more senior football, etc. And Jackson might risk getting benched and not being able to develop his talent further. So that is why a lot of people are now worried and want him to be and to remain that number one striker that we play game in, game out, so that he bags goals and gets better and feeds our wingers and those in behind goals as well. And obviously Vlahovic coming in kind of hinders that potentially. So I think Jackson definitely will thrive from a little bit of competition, no doubt. But of course, then again, we do have Breuer as well. And, you know, he's someone that hasn't played football in a very long time. So people will argue that he's not the right guy to be a rotation striker either. But I feel like Jackson is another player that only gets better with time. And I think we were so excited to see what Pochettino does with these younger players that don't necessarily have as much experience and as much game time playing at that senior level, facing the most, competitive Premier League sides. But for me, it's just so exciting to see what he does. And what you say about him being clever is great. You know, I think there was that one goal he scored that was assisted by Ian Maatsen, I believe. And you know, he turned so quickly, and Jackson already knew what he was going to do with that ball. He knew that he was releasing it kind of behind the defender, and he timed his run so well. We kept saying that if that was Havertz, that would be an offside run immediately. You know, there's no doubt about it. But Jackson is clearly very composed as well in his decision making and his finishing as well. Wow, thanks Jackson for not shooting at the keeper every single time you get the opportunity. You know, thanks for actually looking for a top right corner or bottom left. It's so refreshing, isn't it?
No, it's so fun you bring Kai into this talk, because I actually saw on Instagram before we started to record that it was baffling for us Chelsea fans to have someone on the pitch like Jackson and then Nkunku actually scoring goals. Like, that would never have. It was like a meme mocking Kai, and like, this is so baffling. We're not used to this. We're used to Kai for 2 seasons not scoring really. So I thought it was so fun for you to bring it in. But I want to touch upon maybe Jackson becoming a second choice, because I get your point of view. I get that you don't want to demolish his hunger, etc. But if you look at it from another sort of angle, it might be because you want to make sure that you have a high level second team, if you know what I mean. So you make sure that you don't drop your level too much when you have to rest your number one players. Do you know what I'm getting at? So you stay superior, even though they are second choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get what you mean.
I think that's why it was so superior this season. We won Champions League. We won what's the competition where Europe conference?
Cup.
Yeah, exactly. And then we won the World Cup thing.
The Club World Cup. Yeah, the World Cup thing.
That thing in Dubai.
That one.
Not even Dubai. Oh, Jesus. Anyways, like, I think the reason we were so good that season was because our lowest was so high, if you know what I mean. Like, the bottom, like, the bar was just raised high overall. So I get what you mean. You don't want to take away their spark, but you also want to make sure that you have that level of experience. Exactly. You want to make sure that the second team is nearly as good as
almost like Man City. When you say that, it's almost like Man City. Like, you know, when Haaland's not playing and you have, you know, for example, Alvarez up there and he is still bagging goals, you know, that is almost kind of like what you can compare it to, you know, someone that is equally, you know, expected to be scoring goals and has the ability to do it. So I get it from that aspect as well. And some may argue that it almost may be too much pressure on Jackson's shoulders as well. Yes, he's impressed us so much, but it is still early days. You know, we're still yet to come into the competition. And thankfully, I'm almost happy, Michelle, that we're only playing a game a week, because last thing you want is these youngsters being pressured by Champions League and, you know, whatnot. I think playing a game a week is healthy, in my opinion, this season as well. When you're trying to mold players into getting better and playing and implementing a system, I think that's so important, because clearly Pochettino has got a structure to how he is going to rotate players as well, which is even better, because like you said, we're not going to just have a predictable starting 11. There is going to be rotation in there, but it's going to be rotation that has an aim, as opposed to Graham Potter's aimless rotation last season, which was, you know, like half the players never even played a full kind of 90 games together or repeatedly anyway. So I think what Pochettino is doing is very actually structured, and it almost seems like our window as a whole is looking quite structured as well. We've obviously signed a new defender as well now from Monaco. So I think obviously because of Wesley Fofana's injury, we're expecting not to see him play Premier League football for at least maybe half a season, maybe even longer. But I think that it's great that we've got this kind of French-speaking back line now. And, you know, obviously Thiago Silva, we've seen, has been an absolutely brilliant player. And not only, Michelle, he's been, do you know what has impressed me? That he's been such a good teacher as well. You know, he settled in Badia Shield so well. You know, he even set in Colwill as well in this pre-season as well. We saw that little partnership. There he is. Oh, Thiago Silva. He's
so good. He's phenomenal.
Amazing.
I actually think he's going to take the same path as John Terry. I hope, because he's so invested in the whole thing.
He's a
like
legend.
He is. Do you remember that video where you saw him watching the women train? I was like, yes, he's just so invested in the club. And yeah, no, it would. But talking about that French speaking backline, I don't know, but imagine how fun that would be. Them just screaming French to each other, and possibly the attackers won't understand a thing.
I don't even know if that's the correct pronunciation, but it is Axel Disasi Dice. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the second name, but he is also a young, kind of talented defender that we are expecting to be, fighting for his place there as well. But equally, it's good that we're getting some depth as well, because I know people are worried with our injury situation, but it's great to see that we are addressing the areas that we need to, and we are reacting quite quickly. And yeah, so for me, it seems that we are on the right path. We've been very clever in how we've approached, but if we can get Caicedo as well, I think that and get rid of Lukaku as well, then that for me is an absolutely amazing transfer window. And yeah, you can argue that perhaps the goalkeeper situation, people are going to be, not necessarily happy, because we did want to bring in kind of a, like a world-class goalkeeper that can carry your team and be a kind of contending for top 4 team, and even in the future for the title as well. But a lot of people are saying that with Kepa, we're not really going to be taking that seriously. And when you look at kind of the other Premier League teams and the goalkeepers they have, we might potentially be slacking on that note. But you can't fix everything in one window. We know that we're going to have to be patient. We know that we've still obviously got the winter window as well, after we see how we get on at the start of next season. But I think we're looking good, and we're going in with some confidence as well, following from last season. And what better than being underdogs and being underestimated going into next season? Because I'm still seeing a lot of teams disrespect us. So, watch out, guys. And I did say this, gear up your goalies, because our attacking players are coming for you.
Bang.
Bang.
No, that was so good. Actually, I just want to quickly say, because you said I think it's going to be really healthy for us only playing one game this season per week, especially in the light of last season. Like, it was not structured at all, and we had too many competitions to participate in.
Yeah.
So I think this is good because it's looking more structured, but we have less to do, so we can just focus all of that on one game only. So hopefully it's going to bear fruit. Like, I'm actually going to be I might even be more disappointed if it's not going to bear fruit more. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would say I have higher.
You're really on the plant and fruit comparison today, aren't you?
No.
Okay, Mother Nature.
No, but do you know what I'm getting at? That we have less to do, and it's looking way more structured. So it's going to be really disappointing if it's not going to turn out better. And a lot better.
But I feel like we're realistic as well with what we're expecting. I'm not expecting us to be contending for the title. Let's be real. Of course, I'm expecting us to push for top 4, top 5. That is an absolute must, in my opinion. But I think we need to still remember that we are work in progress. I feel like that is clear. And if you as a Chelsea fan don't understand that, then I feel like you are being a little bit delusional, because this is it's a process. We've just had Pochettino come in, and he started off great, absolutely showing us that we are working towards something and that there is an ambition in sight. But we still have to be realistic that a lot of our players are young. They're going to make mistakes. They're not going to be consistently good week in, week out. They are going to have setbacks as well, but it's all going to be kind of a route for the long-term process. And, in years to come, we are going to be title contenders. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'll be disappointed with a loss. Obviously, I will. But I'm just saying, if I can see that there's massive progress within the 90 minutes we're playing, that's what I'm getting at. I'm not necessarily getting at that we need to win every single game. Sure, that would be phenomenal. But as long as I can just see that it's making sense what's happening on the pitch, because it didn't make sense last season. It didn't. Yeah. That's like a massive progress from going to chaotic, doesn't make sense at all, to structured, making sense. That's what I'm getting at. And then, get the points, get the goals. Scoring more than 2 goals is a win for me. We barely could do that last season.
Well, there you go, Chelsea. Score goals, get points. That's a great way to end this episode. Fantastically well put, Michelle. Guys, though, let us know your thoughts down in the comments, of course, as always. Which players have impressed you? What are your expectations for Chelsea next season? And, of course, leave a like, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV, and we will see you in the next one. Michelle?
Absolutely. I'll give a quick prediction for the season. We're going to end
Go for it.
top 6.
Okay.
Are
Top
we?
6.
What's
I think
yours?
we'll end 5th. I think we'll finish 5th.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll look like fools. Maybe we'll look like absolutely, I don't know, psychics.
Right. We'll see.
Right.
Thank you so much for watching, guys.
Cheers.